Hello everybody, Ben Rogers here, the Raptors Digest, reacting to the Toronto Raptors 123-99 win against the LA Clippers. Now before I get into this game, super exciting game last night for the Toronto Raptors. I just want to give a little PSA for all you guys that listen. We really appreciate you guys, but obviously I'm running the pod for now the past few weeks. Riker's doing a awesome backpacking trip across Europe, so he'll be back in a couple weeks, but until then, I'm the only one manning the pod for the post-game reactions, and obviously this one came out late. I'm in exam season right now, so sleep is a very valuable commodity, so I'm trying to get as much as that and get all these podcasts out, and obviously do well in all my courses. So I apologize if some of the uploads are later than usual. Tonight against the Warriors will be late as well. I apologize if we don't get a reaction out for a game or two over the next week, but December 22nd, I believe Riker's back, and I'll be done school, for this semester. Then everything will be back to normal. Also, if I'm going to be late on a pod or if it's coming, if it's not dropping, for some whatever reason, I'm going to try and get as many out as I can. But I'm going to keep you guys updated if a pod's coming out late or anything like that on the Instagram. So definitely follow that if you're not right now. And I really appreciate you guys, supporting, checking on every video. I know some of you guys stay up later to wait for the reaction. So we really appreciate your support, and I thought I'd say that before I, get into this awesome game. But enough about the Raptors Digest and more about the Toronto Raptors, because the Toronto Raptors came out and played amazing last night. They came out and just whooped the LA Clippers, and this was a phenomenal game. For people that haven't been, keeping up on the Western Conference that much, the LA Clippers have been really good this season, 17-10, and the Toronto Raptors just dismantled them. It was a complete utter destruction of the Clippers tonight, and that's super exciting. I wanted nothing more than to whoop the Clippers, as the Clippers, I have nothing against their franchise, nothing against their fans and anything like that, but this season they're my least favorite team. And I have some, the Boston Celtics are out there, the Nets are out there for me, but the Clippers are my least favorite team this season because I want them to struggle, so Kawhi Leonard has no incentive to go to that team, as during the offseason the noise has been a bit dumbed down ever since the Toronto Raptors have been playing well, but everyone says the Kawhi is probably going to go to the Clippers next season. That's the number one betting odds over the summer, and it's still definitely there. He wants to play in LA, or at least he wanted to when he demanded a trade from the Spurs, and apparently he doesn't want to play with LeBron, so the Clippers seem like the potential landing spot for Kawhi, so I want them to struggle, and tonight, without Kawhi Leonard, we just bullied them, and that was a great sight to see as a Toronto Raptors fan, and it couldn't have been in better fashion, as the past 4 or 5 podcasts, the past 4 or 5 games, I've been saying Kyle Lowry and Fred VanVleet are the key to the Raptors having success. 2 of those guys lead their respective units, and we need Kyle Lowry to be able to score and facilitate, and Fred to do the same thing. We don't necessarily need the biggest numbers from either of them, but we need them to be capable of scoring, capable of hitting the shots that they get, and being able to facilitate for everyone else on the team. Now, Nick Nurse did a genius move, in my opinion, tonight, because Kawhi Leonard obviously resting on the first night of a back-to-back, and you'd expect, we have a solid depth of wings, a lot of guys that can play the wing position. Obviously, Kawhi runs our small forward. He's our starting small forward. And when he's out, it makes sense to sub in a player that plays exactly like Kawhi. OG, obviously not nearly as good as Kawhi currently, but he has the same playing style, and you could fit him in the same type of role in the offense. Obviously, running less through him, but can definitely do the same sort of things, especially on the defensive end as Kawhi. So it would have made sense for OG to go in there. Even CJ, who's been struggling, but is a veteran, and usually veterans get a starting nod when another veteran's gone out. But no, Nick Nurse decided to start Fred VanVleet at the point guard. And obviously with Kyle Lowry's struggles the past few games, he started Fred at the point guard and made Kyle Lowry be forced. He was put into a position where he had to be the number one scoring option on this lineup, and it was genius. It was an awesome move by the Raptors. Well, Serge Ibaka had the most points, but Kyle Lowry was looked at as more of a scorer, and he did an awesome bounce back game tonight. 21 points, 7 assists, 5 rebounds. This is a classic Kyle Lowry game. 8 of 13 from the field, phenomenal field goal shooting percentage, and 4 for 8 from the three-point line. And we usually do the segments at the end, but the DeMarre Carroll Gold Star is coming right now. It's going to everyone that's been saying we should trade Kyle Lowry. And I have my mind made up, unless something abysmal happened tonight. That was going to be the DeMarre Carroll Gold Star, and it was going to everyone saying that Lowry needs to be traded, because this guy is a 4-time All-Star. He is the most disrespected Toronto Raptors star in franchise history. And it honestly makes me a bit rotted, because he's my favorite player. People that listen to the pod know he's my favorite player. but he does everything for this team, and he's capable of doing these things. Obviously, I'm not going to back him up with how he struggled the past 4 or 5 games, but when an all-star is in a slump, you don't just automatically look to trade him. Obviously, he's getting paid big money, and it's unacceptable the way he was playing, but you don't trade him for nothing. Like, I saw a lot of people and a lot of comments, even in our comment section, say that we should trade him for a second-round pick. That's absurd. Kyle Lowry is without a doubt our second-best player on this team. He's capable of going off like this on a night-by-night basis, and even when his shots weren't going down, he was still doing a lot of positive things on the court. So I think it was absurd that people were saying we should trade Kyle Lowry. And tonight, he shows he's not falling off a cliff, right? Obviously, we want to see more consistency out of Lowry on the scoring end, because otherwise, aside from the shooting the past couple weeks, Kyle Lowry has had arguably his second-best season. He's leading the league in assists. I'm not sure if that's still the case, but he's leading the league in assists for a long time. He's doing a phenomenal job at getting everyone involved. And for the beginning of the year, he was shooting at a very high percentage, even though his scoring numbers were down. So I'm very happy to see Nick Nurse make sure that Kyle Lowry got his rhythm, got his scoring groove tonight. And he's shown in the past that he's capable of, this is right around his career averages with the Toronto Raptors, 21, 7, and 5. This is where he's been for the past few years. Obviously, his scoring numbers are down a bit, but Kyle Lowry's stepped back and taken more facilitating role, so I don't mind if he doesn't score 20 points a night, but he has to be capable of scoring 20 points a night. Obviously, we have so much talent on this roster. We don't always need a huge scoring night from Lowry, but when we do, when Siakam's struggling, Serge is struggling, the other team is focusing in on Kawhi. We need a second option that can for sure get a bucket, for sure do what Kyle Lowry did tonight, and he did it. He showed everyone that he can still do it. So shout out to Kyle Lowry. Hopefully he can continue to have his confidence there, continue to shoot the ball at a high clip. He's too good of a player not to bounce back. I was saying to a lot of people in our DMs that I thought Lowry would have this bounce back game against the Bucks. Unfortunately, that wasn't the case. But tonight, it was. And we'll see how he does against the Golden State Warriors. But really happy with Lowry's performance. And Fred, another guy that's been up and down this season. In my opinion, he's of equal importance to him playing at a steady level is also key for the Toronto Raptors, in the same vein that Kyle Lowry is. He gets everyone going, and obviously not a huge scoring night from Fred, but it's the same thing as Lowry. We don't need Lowry and Fred to have big scoring nights every night, but they have to be capable of hitting their shots and facilitate for other players, and Fred did a phenomenal job in the starting lineup that tonight. Only 5 points, but 14 assists from Fred VanVleet, exactly what we needed, especially with Lowry taking a more scoring role. And this was a perfect Fred VanVleet game, in my opinion, as he did what the team needed him to do, and this is what he did all last year. This is why he's so revered by Raptors fans, especially last season, because he was playing with that decision-making, that all-star caliber basketball IQ. Obviously, he probably doesn't have the skills of an all-star just yet. He's still a young guy, but he has that all-star point guard IQ. And that's Fred's best skill, and he played tonight with that IQ and showed it off to the fullest form. That's Fred's best asset. It's kind of been up and down this year, when in last season it was very steady. That's where he got the name Steady Freddy. But hopefully this keeps up, because I was really impressed with Fred VanVleet's game tonight. And Serge Ibaka continues to do it for the Toronto Raptors, the center position for the Raptors. And this could have fed into the DeMar Carroll Gold Star Award as well, especially with Jonas. Jonas, whenever he has a bad game, maybe it's different people, because Jonas haters can't say anything when he has a good game, but Jonas supporters, people in the Jonas hive, can't say anything when he has a poor game every now and then. But we can't always be saying that we need to trade Jonas when he has a couple bad game stretches. Because Serge and Jonas I've been saying it, the most productive center duo in the league. Serge Ibaka, 25 points, 9 rebounds. Jonas tonight, 16 points, 5 rebounds. Them as a tandem have been eating up front courts this season. And, it's a position that's kind of been dying throughout the league. And two of those guys are down low, prototypical big men. And they've been shown that they can compete at this level. Obviously, Jonas's pick and roll defense is a bit worse than Serge's. But other than that, two of them have been you couldn't ask for more out of two of them this season. As, if you can consider them one combined person, they've been playing like an all-star. So shout out to two of those guys. They've been doing it on a night-to-night basis. And obviously, Lowry and Kawhi are more... and Pascal are more intriguing storylines, I think, for the media and including me on the podcast. But I want to shine light on how well they've been playing. Last night, another example of it. Hopefully, they can do the same against the Warriors tonight. But yeah, and Serge Ibaka defensively has been on a tear as of late. 3 blocks tonight, doing really good job on the defensive end. And another guy, Danny Green, didn't have it from three, but did some nice slashing plays, which is great. Obviously, Danny Green's a 3-and-D guy, but a lot of those guys in the NBA can't really drive and get their own shot around the rim or finish around the paint. Obviously, DeMar Carroll fashion, DeMar DeRozan will always be making fun of his layups, but he didn't have the three going tonight. Only took two, though, so it wasn't really like he was cold. He just didn't really take any shots, but got some shots around the rim, which is nice to see. Get a little switch up from Danny. But the guy I was really, really happy with, especially off the bench, was OG Anunoby. He's been obviously has a lot going on, and he's been kind of just looked a bit zoned out on the court as of late, and not very confident in his play. Obviously, he looks improved this season, and there's been games where he's really shown flashes. But OG, not a huge stat line tonight, but 12 points, 2 rebounds, 5 for 9 from the field, but he looked confident out there. His defense looked a bit back. He took a couple threes with pure confidence. When you look at OG's form, you can almost tell when it's going to go in. You can see when he shoots it confidently, and you can see when his form almost looks different when he's not confident in his three ball. And tonight he was shooting it in rhythm, which was really nice to see. And it's probably why OG, it seems like he either swishes the shots or he just completely airballs it. Doesn't seem like there's an in-between for OG, so really nice to see him have a game where he's shooting it with confidence, playing defense, looking more engaged on the offensive end. Hopefully that will all get more consistently. I'm sure it will as time moves on, gets more of a rhythm this season. So I've been saying it. OG's been struggling, but I know OG's going to bounce back. And DeLon Wright has been also struggling. It hasn't really been noted as much as Fred and Lowry. He's been struggling the past couple games, but 2 threes from DeLon tonight, 12 points, 3 assists, 4 rebounds. Really, really solid game from DeLon. If we can get this out of him every night, that would be an awesome sight to see for the Toronto Raptors. But yeah, this team had a phenomenal game. CJ Miles is still struggling. Hopefully he can at some point bounce back and hit a couple threes. But yeah, no, this team is awesome. Pascal Siakam also, I forgot to mention him. Even when he doesn't have the hugest of scoring nights, he always has an impact on the court playing defense. 13 points, 5 assists, 3 rebounds. The Raptors are a phenomenal team. And even when we're struggling, with all the struggles that we've had, we have so many good shooters on this team. Danny Green, Fred VanVleet, Kyle Lowry, Siakam starting to be able to hit it from 3 now. OG is capable of the 3-ball. CJ has been abysmal, but he's still a 3-point shooter. DeLon Wright can even hit it. Jonas. We have a lot of guys that are capable of knocking down threes at a solid clip, and we've been shooting abysmally from the 3-point arc. And our second, and even Kawhi didn't play tonight, but he's awesome 3-point shooter, and we've been just awful from beyond the arc, especially the past couple weeks. We're in the bottom of the league. And the fact that our losses to good teams have only been by 1 and 2 points with this awful stretch of shooting, and our second best player, our all-star, playing, at a G League level for a couple of games. The fact that we only lost 3 of the last 4, and we've been playing at such a high level, and we still have the best record in the NBA. It's ridiculous. This team is ridiculously talented. I don't think we need to make a bunch of moves like everyone says every time we lose. Obviously we're going to lose games throughout the regular season. But last year, Daryl Morey tweeted when we were playing really well that when people started, taking notice, we lost a few games, and he tweeted out the regression to the mean. Well, this season I think it's going to work in the opposite direction because we've been so abysmal from the 3-point line, and we have so many good shooters. I think if we're going to, move closer to the mean, closer to what we are actually capable of doing, as time goes on, only the shots are going to get better. So I just see this team only looking up, and hopefully Lowry sustains this level of play, especially when Kawhi comes back. We have a tough test tonight. So, yeah, awesome game for the Toronto Raptors, one of the best of the season. We're going to swing it straight into the segments. I already got the DeMar Carroll gold star out of the way, but tonight the Kawhi you doing like that play of the day, it's going to Kyle Lowry. Pascal Siakam, one of the best rim runners in the NBA, super fast. Got that speed, always goes for the run. Kyle Lowry saw him run past, I believe it was Gallinari, threw a crisp bounce pass through the lane. Obviously, there was a lot of dunks and stuff tonight, but I like a nice crisp bounce pass to Siakam cut for either a jam or a lane. I don't particularly remember, but awesome play, stuck out in my head. A lot of candidates for the Kawhi do him like that play, but tonight that's who I'm giving the play to, but not all plays could be the Kawhi do him like that play of the day, and some just make you say, oh, geez. And tonight, the OGs play of the day. It's going to Boban on the other team. Boban Marjanovic. This guy is ridiculous. Obviously he's a big man, so it's tough to play him a lot of minutes. But especially down the stretch of this game. I know a lot of his points came in garbage time, but I don't know why the Clippers don't play this guy more often. I don't know his specific injury situation, if he's capable of playing big minutes, but 18 points and 7 rebounds in 16 minutes of action. Obviously on the defensive end, he might be a bit of a liability, but because he's slower, but he's still so big in the paint. He's going to impact the shots. But Boban just comes out on the offensive end, and he looks kind of unstoppable. I know it's a meme around r/NBA and NBA fans that Boban's unstoppable, but watching him play, he's in the paint, and you don't understand how you could guard this player. Because he's so big, if he catches it down low, it's over. He can just shoot it over you. He's got a mid-range jumper on him. He just dunks everything. Definitely made me say, oh, geez, watching him on the court. Let me know if there's a reason why he doesn't play that much that I'm not aware to, because I think if the Clippers played him more often, obviously the Clippers have been great this season. Doc Rivers, got to give a lot of credit to Doc Rivers. He's done a phenomenal job with this team. No real superstars, even though Tobias Harris will probably get the All-Star nod this season. But, it's kind of wild, this guy. He's kind of a paradox in the NBA because he plays so well. I've seen his stat lines and all that. Everyone wants him to play more minutes, but he doesn't. So I guess it's injury concern. There's got to be something because watching him play, you look at his stats and he can play. And seeing it for myself with the eye test tonight, this guy's a baller. He could ball, and he's just so big out there. It makes me say, oh, geez, as a fan of the other team. Yeah, and I talked about the Raptors because obviously the Raptors, it's a Raptors-oriented pod, and there's lots of stuff going on with the team. But I want to give some credit to the Clippers. Obviously I'm rooting against them all this season because I don't want them to get Kawhi, so obviously I'm going to be rooting against them. But they have a really solid team. I got to give credit where credit's due. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, I always mess up his name, and everyone always flames me when I try and say it, but you see why Masai Ujiri wanted to get this player. Obviously not the greatest game for him tonight, but his length, his three-point shooting ability, his ability to lead the team, he's only a young guy, young Canadian boy, but he's showing that he's a capable NBA player, starting for one of the best teams in the Western Conference already in his rookie season. He's going to be a baller in this league, especially once he gets his offensive game going a little bit more. And players that are this young with so much raw talent, once he gets a bit more polished, I think he could be a big-time player in the league. Montrezl Harrell, not the biggest game. He usually goes off against the Raptors, but you see his impact and why he's been a good player this season. And, the Clippers are a good roster. The player that I wanted to mention was Teodosic. That guy can pass the ball. Last year, I was really high on this guy. I thought he'd be a more known name. Obviously, he got hurt last season, and he didn't get to play too much, but this guy's a ridiculous passer. He might, Ricky Rubio hasn't really made any highlight reels recently, but he might have taken as the best flashy passer in the NBA. Some high quality dishes for him tonight. I really love watching him play. People that listen to the pod know I love the pass. I love people that can throw the no looks and all that sort of stuff. So I think he's a really good player. Hit 3 threes tonight. I think he's an underrated guy in the NBA. But anyways, enough of me rambling about this game. I'm really impressed with the team. Great win against a great team. Big one tonight against the Golden State Warriors. As I mentioned at the beginning, the Golden State Warriors pod will probably be dropping tomorrow instead of tonight. I'm going to try and do all I can to get that one out. And if unfortunately I don't get the chance to record it, I sincerely apologize for that because obviously it's one of the biggest games of the year with Steph Curry and all that back. But I think I will. I'm going to do my 1,000% best, and I'll keep you updated on the Instagram if and when the pod's coming out. But you're the best for listening this far. Check out the Twitter, the Instagram, all that cool stuff. The Raptors are bouncing back, and I love it. So I'm signing out. Cheers.